Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our campaign is Beyond the Mountains of Madness, and this is episode 12. It was written by Janice Hill and Charles Engen, along with others who are listed in the credits. Our GM for this campaign is Sean Little, and Mick Swan will be giving the recap. A distant distress bell calls. The players are ready. Let's begin our journey into the darkness. Mick?
Having secured the engines that were loosened in the hold and cleared up the kerosene which had leaked, we then, at Mr. Brixton's suggestion, searched for other signs of sabotage aboard the Gabrielle. We had 3 aircraft left, one completely ruined. Brixton briefed Starkweather, and as the storm subsided a little, we maintained a series of daily sweeps. The visibility was poor, and we encountered a great many more icebergs. The ship turned west, towards clearer water, and by the 30th we had begun pushing ice. By Halloween, the 31st of October, progress was slow as we pushed through the pack ice, and we were looking for a channel. On the 3rd, we found such a channel, a passage through the ice to the southeast. Sparky, on the 5th, Sparky heard the Tallahassee trapped in the ice 300 miles to the east of us. On the 6th, we encountered eerie mists and vapors, mirages amidst the ice, and the sight of a whaler, the Wallaroo, partially encased in ice. A few of us decided to go aboard to reconnoiter the wreck. The search revealed the gruesome spectacle of a great pile of dismembered body parts. Dr. Hawkes was able to ascertain that the crew were most likely the victims of an explosion, perhaps from the boiler. Mr. Brixton broke open a chest in the captain's quarters, in which he found a logbook, a key, and a pouch containing a number of curious gold coins depicting queer-looking sea creatures. The log spoke of an icebound ship trapped on the pack ice, hints of the captain's suicide, and mentioned that some men, their fates unknown, managed to get away. In the hold, we found a strong box containing a dozen bottles of whiskey, and on returning to our skiff, we saw another object sticking out from the ice, a lifeboat. Seemingly, the survivors did not make it. We pushed on through the ice, progress becoming more and more difficult until we were left with no option but to blast our way through. After 2 days of blasting, we finally managed to break out. On the 10th of November, we heard that the Lexington had established her base camp at the Ross Sea Barrier. The following day, we made open water again, and on the 14th, we sighted the Admiralty Range and Ross Island. Securely moored, we began our disembarkation. 12 hours on, and we established a temporary camp. The following morning, the Gabrielle shifted off into clear water, and we spent the evening celebrating after a very hard day's work. A runway was established, and a test flight sighted the Lexington camp. The Boeings began ferrying materials to the base camp, while the Scott mapped the coast. On the 18th, we were preparing to go to the base camp when a crack in the ice appeared. It was a race against time to move everything. Tractors worked all night. We lost 140 drums of aviation fuel. Morale was running low, but we managed to establish a new runway, and the following day settled into the base camp. 3 a.m. the next morning, we were awakened by a bell ringing. A mayday signal from the radio. The Tallahassee, supposedly under attack. The Lexington camp was under attack, radioing the Tallahassee. There was a thunderous rumble from the north. Radio chatter spoke of gunfire, smoke, and explosions. We were given the order. The other camp was 8 miles away, and we needed to assemble ourselves and mount a rescue effort. Speed was of the utmost. That's where we left it, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Mick. Mr. Starkweather turns to all of you. points to you investigators as well as a few assorted others and says, everyone with first aid training, you bunch, 15 minutes. We've got a young lady to rescue. So you need to tell me, one by one, what each of you are going to bring with you.
First aid kit and my pistol.
Dr. Hawks is going to bring his first aid kit. He's going to bring his medical bag, his trauma kit, as much as he can carry. So
now my first aid is base. So
yeah, so's mine, but I think anything's going to be helpful, right?
What he doesn't, and it's not just first aiders. He wants you bunch, so as you've proven yourselves trustworthy to him.
All right. Well, I will go with the doctor to assist him in any way that I can, and any additional medical equipment that he might need, I'll bring. I'm also armed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm bringing my first, I assume everybody has first aid supplies. I'll take whatever. If Dr. Hawks needs me to carry something or schlep something for him, I'll be glad to do that. And then I'm also taking my pistol and my sniper rifle.
I assume bandages, a lot of extra bandages, and alcohol for disinfecting.
Sorry.
Let's also remember they're under attack, so everybody should be armed as well, I believe.
I'm going to bring some ropes and crampons and some climbing gear, just in case they're having problems with the terrain like we did.
Yeah.
Especially if there are explosions. If there are explosions, there could be more cracks in the ice.
Okay. Well, if anyone wants to add to their list, they can before you leave. But
how about security for our camp? We need to make sure that
folks staying behind.
Oh yes,
and
there's two dogs.
NPCs or something like that staying behind to make sure that we're not overrun by whoever is attacking their camp.
Yeah, they should go on high alert. Our own camp.
That there's only two sleds are going, 11 dogs per. The sled dog trainers, I can tell you also who else is going. It is he wants all of you, your group, here to go. Unless someone has a reason to stay, the party will consist of Starkweather, Sykes, Dr. Green, Pulaski, Snabjorn, and you guys. Okay. Everyone else is staying back at the camp because he wants to leave quickly.
All right, let's go.
Okay. All right, so that they prepare the dogs, they prepare everything. They're loading up a lot of rope. They're loading up the first aid supplies. They're loading up just their basic supplies, and of course, everyone's wearing their winter gear. He looks you over, Mr. Starkweather says, remember, 8 miles across the open ice. So if there's anything you think you need to make sure you bring it with you now. You've got 5 minutes.
We need somebody to bring one of the portable radios so that we can contact back.
Now, Sykes has a radio.
Especially if there's any problems.
Right, walkie-talkies or radios or whatever.
How about if there are a number of injured? How are we going to get them back? Can we bring stretchers and drag the stretchers behind the dogs, or
do you ask Starkweather that?
Well, I'm asking anybody's opinion what they think we should try.
Depending on the size of the camp, like we should be able to have sort of like a triage thing there, and if things.
All right. Yeah, they should have supplies too there.
It also depends if we can stave off the attack. I mean, it may not be necessary to evacuate.
Who and what could be attacking them? There's nothing here. It's freaking Antarctica. Mm-hmm. There's no indigenous people. Yeah, penguins.
That's the only thing on the island, because, if I'm correct, there's no polar bears in the Arctic, is there?
No, wrong. That's North Pole.
So, yeah, the only thing I could think of is penguins, but I don't know.
We'll see. I think we should be prepared for anything.
Penguins.
Anyone want to make an idea roll?
Well, my idea would be that a rival group has arrived that we didn't know about.
I made it.
I made mine 3 out of 55. I have an amazing idea.
There is the German group as well.
Yeah, I was going to say there's another group.
That's the other expedition I haven't heard from.
I mean, it must be bad.
They could have a saboteur within their camp as well. Like, who knows? Maybe some of these other
It's like,
groups
what
had
could have
similar
possibly keyed this
problems.
off?
Except they said an attack, so
Don't
Let's
forget,
go
we know
find
the,
out. Let's go
Yeah,
find
let's
out.
do it. Yeah.
let's approach with caution. Yes.
don't forget we know the stories from the previous expedition.
Now, I would suggest going there blazing. If we be cautious, if we go in there blazing, we're going to catch whoever it is off guard because they're not going to be expecting us.
What I mean is go in with caution so that we can see them long before they can see us coming.
Well,
And then
they're
go
gonna
in
see-
blazing.
They're going to see us long before anyway, right? Because we're coming across 8 miles of ice, and they're going to see two little dots getting closer and closer and closer. It's not like we're going to be strafing them in the airplanes, right?
Right. But maybe
So
there's some topography we can approach. All you need is a small hill or something between you and them
True.
to make sure that they don't see us coming.
So as if they're attacking, they're probably too busy to be paying attention to
That
outside
might be
the
true.
camp.
Anyways, let's go.
Right. Let's do it.
There's people that need
All right.
rescue.
All right,
Tally-ho!
you load up.
Wouldn't surprise me if it is the Germans, what was that nutcase they've elected?
Yeah.
2 sleds laden with supplies. 11 dog teams. Company, a little band, your group. It's wild ice. As much as you haven't really had the opportunity to check it out, this is rough terrain. So for the first hour, it's a lot of rush. Oh, by the way, one thing I need to mention. Have any of you got skiing skills?
No.
No.
I've got Arctic survival.
Well, you know what? You could probably base that on where we live. If I'm from New England, I know how to ice skate, but I probably don't know how to ski.
Well, there are
Maybe-
snowshoes available.
Maybe snowshoes, yeah.
Right.
I just didn't know. Well, it works out well because Mr. Green or Dr. Green has no skiing ability whatsoever. Those who are not mushing on the sleds, running the sleds, have to essentially run behind or walk behind. So it's snowshoes for everyone then.
Okay.
The first hour is a lot of excitement, rush. Mr. Starkweather's leading the way. Like eventually he takes over control of one of the sleds. And you notice that Dr. Green is tiring easily. He's older, clumsy. Eventually he agrees to ride on one of the sleds for the sake of the emergency. But assuming everyone goes, could everyone make I guess, what would you make then? Could everyone please make a luck roll for this one?
35 out of... Yeah.
Okay,
Hate it.
good.
Yep, I'm in.
Failed by 6 points.
Failed by 6?
Yeah.
All right.
Roll.
Nothing major. Essentially, you just
44.
the first hour you have a slip on the ice. No major injury. It just makes you a little more cautious because it hurts. It's harsh, rough ice, not soft snow like you might see back home on a winter's day. So as you're proceeding,
Can we let Dr. Hawks ride on one of the things too? Because if he gets injured, he's the doctor. We need the doctor.
Good idea.
Doc, you get up there. Dogs can pull you too.
Okay, for sure. As long as there's nobody older than me.
No, well, you're
Well, he's
more
in pretty good
valuable.
shape.
You're
Okay.
I'm
whatever
older,
makes
but
them
you're
easier.
more valuable, yeah.
you're a piece of gold.
I'm clutching my bag and my trauma kit in my arms. Okay.
We'll make you run
More
back.
puppy.
well, it gets progressively harder as you go. Not that the terrain is getting harder. You're just
No, he froze.
oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Now we can, yes.
Okay, sorry. It's a bit of a hard trip, but the first hour goes by and you're starting to get tired. Terrain appears flat and featureless, but every time you pass over a little rise, it's not flat. Holes and cracks everywhere. So first hour, everyone's going fast. Second hour starts. strange mists rising up just due to the time of day. You hear this howling noise, and everyone's sort of looking to the one direction at the same time. And eventually you see that it's really just the wind whipping through a little crevasse coming up through a hole in a piece of ice that sort of acts like a whistle. So it kind of freaks you out fairly quickly. And as I noted, Mr. Starkweather's taken over control of one of the sleds, and he's all excited, and even he's starting to get tired after the first hour leads into the second. Objects distorted by the uneven light and lack of reference. Things appear farther away than they are or closer than they are. The dogs are not happy. They bark and howl. They're excited. They want to go faster, but carrying the extra weight, they can't. It gets getting cold. It's 3 a.m, but the sun, of course, this time of year, there's still sunlight. All you can hear is the sound of the dogs, the squeak and hiss, the runners in the snow, the crunch of your own boots and clothing, your snowshoes and such.
We're not hearing any more gunfire, are we?
Nothing right now.
How fast are we moving? Approximately how many miles per hour?
You don't know the actual speed, but you do have an estimate that it's going to take you at this speed. Mr. Starkweather's going rough calculations. He says we should be getting there in about 2 hours total if we hurry.
2 hours total. Okay.
4 miles an hour. As you keep going, all of a sudden you come up to a ridge, and it's like over a rise. There's this ridge, and it's 20 feet tall. And it just extends in all directions. So Mr. Starkweather turns and looks at Captain Sugden, rather, and says, "Can you get us over this? You're the mountain climber."
Well, I can get most of us over this, I imagine. I'm not going to be able to get the dogs over.
We've got a lot of rope.
Yeah, can't we just hoist the
If
dogs
you get the dogs,
it
would have to be one at a time.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, we can maybe rig something up and hoist them up in their harnesses.
Yeah,
Well,
there you go.
You can
As long as
get
we
a
can
bunch
keep
of
them calm.
you can get a bunch of us on top of the ridge, and then we can get a lot of the dogs over at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
If each of us is pulling up a dog.
Yes, okay. Yeah,
They don't
we
weigh
can
that
do
much.
I mean, the sleds we can just move up as in the same way we take up a
Right.
stretcher or something. But
Yep,
I'm
yep.
just, as long as the dogs are calm, that should be no problem. Yes.
They're very, very, I wouldn't say tame, but they listen.
Right.
Okay.
They're trained.
Trained, well trained.
All right. Well, we'll keep one of the dog handlers down
Right.
until the dogs are all up, just so they can keep the dogs calm when they're going
Yep.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, could you make a roll against your mountain climbing skill to assume you've devised a plan?
I will do that. That is 28 out of 80.
Excellent. You get up. You're up on top of the ridge. You manage to get others up there. So I guess you just need to make, I would say, a luck roll. Well, I wouldn't say. Who is actually at the bottom?
I'm still at the bottom.
Okay. So you have to. What should he do, Captain Sugden? You're in charge.
Well, I'd say that anyone who's not too sure of their climbing abilities should basically be tied onto a rope, and they can be sort of, well, I mean, I'm sure they'll put in an effort of trying to get themselves up, but we'll also have a team at the top pulling them up.
Right.
And
All right.
in getting up there as well, we're gonna leave a series of what are they called? Lanyards,
Pitons.
things. We're gonna leave things.
Stuff.
Ropey, hangy things that we can feed the rope through, and we'll have someone at the bottom belaying. I know that one. We'll have someone belaying at the bottom so that should anyone lose their footing, or should anything happen above, we at least have that safety aspect. So, even if anyone falls, they might get a bump, but they're not going to die.
All right. It's only a 20-foot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but you can drown in 6 inches of water.
It might hurt. It might hurt your pride more than anything else.
But it could break the sled. That's what Mr. Starkweather says. So let's be careful with these. So let's assume the people who are up are up. The people who are down to assist at the bottom are down. Could you, if you're in charge, could you make a luck roll then?
$45, 65. That's okay.
I got a 93.
You're just having a bit of trouble with your knots. You slip out of the knots and you land on your butt on the ice. No injuries.
Tie these damn knots.
Mr. Starkweather, did you pay attention during the classes on the ship? My gosh, people. He's still in a good mood. He's laughing a bit.
I didn't take knot tying.
Oh, my gosh. Where were you? I saw you at the ballroom dancing class.
I took that, yeah.
He was at the yoga class.
I took all the science classes.
Okay. So he's helping out as best he can. So you get the people up who need to be up. You need the sleds. I need 2 people to make dexterity rolls to adjust to.
I have 27 out of 60 on my dex roll.
Excellent.
Well, I made it 56 out of 70.
Okay, sled
I got
number
an
1.
11.
Okay. Someone else?
I got an 11.
Okay. Well, I'll roll for some random.
Here.
Okay, both sleds are up. Now it's the dogs. So one dog trainer is up top. He's
Come on, boy. Come on.
There's actually
Come on,
hooks in the back of their what do you call it? Their
harnesses.
Their harnesses. There's actually hooks in the back so they can attach them to the ropes. So he suggests that will distribute their weight when you're lifting them up and over. So one by one, they go up. No issues. Dogs are up top. So it's just the last people who is
good boy.
I guess it would be Dr. Hawks and Dr. Green as well need to go up and over now.
Yeah.
And me too.
Do you want me to make a climb check?
If you have a climb, if
Yeah,
not,
I do actually.
excellent.
I made my climb. I got 20.
Good.
I have
I
30.
made my climb as well.
Well, we've
got a
got
65.
a number of people at the top hanging onto the rope.
Right.
Yes.
I did it. And it's like, yeah, big deal.
And Dr. Green made it as well. He's very tired, even from the effort of just being pulled up a rope by someone else. He's a tired man. It's 4 in the morning now. All right. So you're up and over. Everything's back together again. And off you go. And Mr. Starkweather's now in a bit of a hurry. He says, okay, we lost time. Let's go. It's very silent again. Nobody's talking now. Everyone's a little tired from the effort. The excitement wore off. You're heading off, and that's that. Choom! The lead dog, the lead sled, the handler says, everyone stop, quick. And a bit of snow is blowing up around you, and you notice up ahead a hole opened up ahead of you. Not open up, it was just not seen because of the snow and the ice. And he wants everyone, you have to quickly grab the back of the first sled and pull it backwards because some of the dogs and the front roping and such has gone down into the hole.
Okay. Pull it back.
Okay.
We grab a hold of it and start pulling.
Yes.
So I need 3 people's strength numbers.
Well, I'm a good, strong chap.
All right.
My strength is 70.
36 out of 65.
37 out of 65.
Perfect.
65 out of 80.
Perfect. All right. I'll roll for the hole. It's a little tough, but you are able to get out, and there's no injuries to the dogs, but they're spooked a bit. A few moments later, everything's back normal. Mr. Starkweather says, let's go. And the dog handler argues ever so little. Say, give them a moment. Give them a moment. I have to check their straps. Checks their harnesses, checks the straps, checks the ropes. And he does find that one of the ropes was cut a bit and has to replace it. Only takes a few moments, and you're on the way again.
Right.
Continuing down. Could everyone make a luck roll again, please?
Yep.
Oh, my luck ran out. I got an 83.
I got an 87.
I got a 99.
Oh, shit.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well,
Oh no!
in a blow-up of snow, the three of you bump into each other rather comically, fall down. One snowshoe goes missing for a few minutes, but you find it in the drift. Mr. Starkweather's standing there, his hands on his hips, a little annoyed. Says, people, this isn't one of those comedy movies. Let's go. Let's go. Pounds his fist on air. And you're back, you leaving again. Yeah. You're off again. And
I poke him between the eyes. He slapped me on the back of the head.
a couple of times you have to double back because you hit another ridge that's actually, even Captain Sugden says, I don't think we can get over this. One time there's a crevasse and you have to go back like 400 meters, or yards rather, go back around to the left and back again to cut around it. It's it's a difficult slog. So essentially it takes 3 hours as predicted, plus a bit, and you are in view of the camp. This is the layout of the Lexington camp.
And where are we? We're coming in from the west?
Yes.
From the west. Okay.
Oh, wait.
We're coming in from the east, right?
Yes, you're coming in from the east. I'm sorry.
Oh, we're coming in from the east. Okay, sorry.
So you see, it's a much smaller camp than you have currently. I've dropped this on the page for you guys to for later. This is the best you can make it. There's the auto gyro. There's the aircraft. There's an antenna and a shed. There's still some smoke rising above, curling around. Essentially, you have to walk carefully to get to, because it's rather rough on the way to the leading area into it. There's trails of markers left out by Lexington's people, but you guys are exhausted. It's smaller, as I said.
Do we see any people?
Yeah, have they
Yes.
sent up a flare like they said?
You're not exactly close to it yet. I mean, you're on your way. The generator shack, radar tower at the middle of the V is shown on the map. There's a scraped landing strip, and it's apparent something's gone very wrong. The air over the site has the choking black tang of smoke, and you can smell it. The dogs don't like it. Pale wisps of steam curl up from soot-covered snowy areas where the wet climate and the men have been dampening the flames, obviously. The radio mast has fallen. The neat cluster of huts and tents is now covered with a thin film of ash. It just looks gray from a distance, is what you assume. One end of the hut is blackened and burned, and where the generator shack was, there's only the remains, like a remains of a bonfire is the best way to describe it.
Wow.
And by the time you arrive, the chaos seems to have settled because people are walking around. I wouldn't say calmly, but with purpose, but not running.
Do they see us coming? Uh-oh.
They contemplate. They're standing looking at the radio shed, and one of them's pointing at you. And the sled dogs bark and snarl because of the smell. Because of that, the heads turn. And there's a fellow walking out to you. His name is, he walks up to you and says, "Welcome." He's Danish. "We heard you were coming. I'm afraid there's not so much for you to do. Miss Lexington wants to see you at the cook shack, though." And Mr. Starkweather says, "Of course, whatever I can do. You knew we were coming?" "Yeah, the ship told us hours ago on the radio. Your camp is worried for you. They wanted us to know you were coming to look out for you."
What happened?
"Please come. There's much to talk about. You have to talk to Miss Lexington."
Okay.
"Where was I? Yes, you have arrived, and yes, So Mr. Starkweather moves into the camp shed and vanishes off and to speak to Ms. Lexington. Says, please let us speak on our own. You hear after the door shuts a few minutes, something banging, someone yelling, and you hear, imbecile woman, I never should have allowed you to. And then, how anyone tolerates your incredible arrogance, you, had about all I can take of your posturing. Don't talk to me about posturing, you pompous. And it just continues on. Each time the voices rise, everybody in the camp stops doing what they do. They look over at the shed, they look at you guys, they look at each other, they shrug, go back to work. Green and Sykes, they're helping the camp get back in order. Doctor seeks out and treats whoever needs treatment. Sykes has got a working radio that you guys brought along with you to try to assist. The generator and wireless sets are destroyed, and the radio in the aircraft is actually being used to contact the ship right now.
Is anybody injured? Anybody need medical treatment?
Yeah, the Dr. Green and Sykes and the camp doctor are actually wandering around finding people just bandages and.
Okay. Well, I had said that I would help them out, so.
Yes, you're with them. Okay, so you're traveling around looking for people to.
Yeah.
Are we seeing any bodies, any blood stains on the ground?
No bodies. There is a medical hut.
Is there any signs of like gunfire?
Yeah, can we ask the people who are here what happened?
Certainly.
Yeah.
There's actually a fellow who seems quite eager. He says, hey, you guys are from the Starkweather camp. How are things over there compared to this?
Well, what the hell happened? I mean...
Well, he stops. He was putting up a tent that had been knocked down, so he stops what he's doing, and he seems very friendly and, forthright in that. He says, I tell you, he says, we've had nothing but problems since we left port. Expedition's in poor shape because of all this. Shakes his head. He looks around conspiratorially, he nods and says, I wish we had someone steady at the helm of the ship like you guys have. It's good that you came.
We were told that you were under attack. Is that correct?
I didn't witness anything. I didn't witness the explosion or attack in the camp. I was putting on my climbing. I was climbing into my snow gear. I was trying to get it set up because I was going to head off and do a little bit of work. And just as I was about to exit my tent, someone crashed into it and knocked it down on top of me. So I was tangled up in the tent until it was all over, it seems. The supplies are destroyed. We've lost so much. Food, fuel, spares. Just look, no one was ready for an accident. She didn't plan well. I don't know what we're going to do. We gotta have help.
Did you experience problems on the way over in the ship? Sabotage?
Well, some people said that word. And he keeps looking over at the hut where they're fighting. Looks a little...
So was there an accident or were you attacked? I mean, was there gunfire? Was there two opposing sides in this?
There was gunfire, apparently. I was tangled up with my hood up and under the tent.
Right.
Stuff's destroyed. There's people in the medical hut with injuries, bullet wounds.
Who's the second in command here? Who's kind of running things when Miss Lexington is away? Is there somebody?
She's the team
that you trust more than her?
We got a couple guides. We got a film crew. We got a camp crew, technicians, pilots. It's really her. She's.
It's her show, huh?
It's her show. It's really not that well organized.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who we can talk to who would know what happened?
Yeah.
There's lots of people around. I would just. He just points in a general direction. He says, "Go talk to who's that? It's not this fellow over here. It's that guy over there. Who is that? Wright Martin. Over by the plane. They're really angry guys, but they'll give you the straight goods on what happened."
Okay.
Markland.
Right. You guys go talk to him, and I'm going to go talk to the doctor of the camp.
Okay.
See if he knows
I'll go
anything.
talk to the pilot.
I'll go with you.
I'm going to go help the
Alrighty.
doctor as well.
Alrighty.
Elmer, where are you going?
I'm kind of sticking by our gear and our sleds and stuff.
Okay. All right. Over by Lexington's plane, two guys, arms crossed. They look like bouncers at a New York club. Subdued, hostile, shoulders hunched, angry with the wind, collars up to their zipped up to their chins. They mutter something to each other as they see you approach, and they get quiet, just watching the plane. They don't want anybody getting near the plane.
Mm-hmm. I'll kind of take the lead and walk up to them, non-threatening, not, I got my rifle over my shoulder. Just, you used the word conspiratorially previously, so I'll just kind of walk up like, man, what a mess. Are y'all okay? Are your planes okay?
Yep, everything's fine.
What the heck happened here? Can you shed some light on what happened? We're just trying to see where we can be of most help, and we're just kind of confused. There seems to be some conflicting stories as to what happened here.
We don't owe you guys any explanations. Maybe step away from the plane a bit, please.
So you don't owe us any explanations, but we came to offer aid and assistance. There's no need to be a jackass about it. I mean, I just kind of want to see what happened, and that's it. I'm not going to harm your plane.
Okay. Do you have a psychology? You could do a psychology roll, maybe, or something like that.
Let's see. I have fast talk. I've got, let's see, psychology. I only have base.
Is it better than your luck roll?
No, my luck's very high.
If you want to try your luck, you can do that.
Okay. All right, I've got a luck of 70, and I roll a 13.
Okay. You recognize underneath the guy's hood, ball cap, you recognize the team, Boston. You strike up a small conversation about that. Guy calms down a bit.
The Boston Red Sox, was that the direction we're heading?
Yeah.
Okay.
He calms down a little bit. The other guy still doesn't want to talk to you, like this right guy. Markland says, look, if you guys are here to help, go talk to Chip Hooper. He's the best guy to talk to.
All right.
We can't talk to people. We're guarding the plane.
That's all right. And I reach out, I shake his hand, I say thank you, no hard feelings. We just kind of, this place can be a hellhole, and we're all in this together. So if there's anything you need, we've got a great mechanic. We've got maybe spare parts to help your planes. Let's just, But we'll go talk to Chip. Thanks a lot. If you need, I think maybe we brought some coffee or something. If you need anything, just let us know. I appreciate it.
He shakes your hand briefly and then turns back to Wright, give him hell. What the hell? Why are you talking to those guys? Mm-hmm. But whatever. So you can see with the direction they point, you can see this guy looks a little more academic than these two. These two are pilots. Mm-hmm. Let me verify that they're pilots before I say that for sure. These two guys one's a pilot. The guy you were talking to is a pilot. Mm-hmm. The other guy is a mechanic. So you can see that the direction, there's another more academic looking guy. Mm-hmm. He sees you guys walking towards you. He goes, hey, you guys from Starkweather's camp?
Yeah.
Wow. That's just amazing. How's your trip going so far?
We've had our ups and downs like y'all have. How are you doing?
Not so good.
I'm Greg Coppard. How are you doing?
He goes, shakes his hand. Chip Hooper, nice to meet you. Wow.
Nice to meet you, Chip.
There were gunshots and shouting. Holy crap. It was just amazing.
How long ago did this start?
I think it was 3 a.m.
Right.
There was shouting. Everyone jumped up. Bradbury the cook and Dinsdale the pilot were running around the compound screaming, they're here, burn them out. shooting in the air and setting things on fire. It was crazy. And
Who was here? Were you being attacked by someone?
oh, these guys are cooking our pilot, just running around, shooting in the air, saying they're here, they're here. We fire.
Interesting. So they were seeing, were they imagining these things? Were you literally under attack, or were they just acting like you were under attack and, little ice crazy or something like that, maybe?
Well, the doctor says he thinks they might have snuck some of the reefer here.
The reefer. Yeah. Okay.
It was either that or snow craziness. We don't know what the hell it was.
Right.
But they were just shooting stuff and setting stuff on fire. And like a few of us just stumbled out of our tents when the generator fuel tank exploded.
Oh, shit.
And people picked themselves up off the ground. The power hut and one in the kitchen were on fire. Generators destroyed. Men in the camp tackled these guys. I mean, tackled Dinsdale, Bradbury, put them under guard at the medical hut.
Oh, good. And so they're under guard and kind of subdued, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, we're excited that we survived. I mean, nobody's dead. A few people got shot, I guess. Mm-hmm. But this is going to be this. I'm going to be writing a memoir on this, and this is going to be the intro chapter.
Now, has anybody talked to these two guys yet? Kind of debriefed them? Kind of figured out what? I mean, are they still in this state of panic, or did the doctor give them a little, drug to kind of calm them down a bit?
I think one of the guys is, I could be Bradbury. One of them is unconscious, hasn't woke up. Like he's out. Mm-hmm. I think some of the guys laid a beating on him.
Well, that's understandable.
That's all I know. You'd have to go to the medical hut.
Cool. Thanks, Chip, man. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. We appreciate it.
Anytime. Happy to talk. Yeah, it's very exciting to see some new people.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all in this together, man. So if you need anything, reach out to us. I know it's difficult here with Miss Lexington, but we'll get through this, man.
Yep. It'll be exciting. This is gonna be the best trip of my life.
Good. So we'll make our way over to the medical tent where the other folks are, and maybe we'll see what Dr. Lindenbrook has been up to, and the doctor, and kind of all congregate there and compare notes and see where we can go from there. I think we kind of need to talk to these two guys, maybe or at least get the doctor's lay of the land on it.
Well, Dr. Lindenbrook, as you approach, you see a fellow with a very similar facial hair to yourself coming out of the tent. Now that I look at the photo, glasses, and someone already pointed out when you were walking by that you heard them say, "Here comes the Dr. Anthony," and he's hurrying away from the medical tent towards another tent. He looks very worried. Doesn't even see you coming towards him. He's going.
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes. Hello. Do you need help?
We're here to help. We're here to help you. We're from the other ship.
Well, I got to get my medical bag. You'll have to follow me and talk to me as I walk.
All right. So what happened?
Well, do you have any medical training by chance?
I can assist, but Dr. Hawk here is the expert.
Oh, good. Dr. Hawk shakes your hand. Where did you go to school? Where'd you train?
I went to school at Miskatonic University there.
Oh, excellent. Good.
Actually, after let me grab my bag. If there's anything we can help, let's look at it. So.
Well, there's lots of people that need minor burns treatment, scrapes, bruises. I've already dealt with the few that got shot, and I've got these two fellows in the medical tent that they're under lock and key, and I've pretty much assessed them. He jumps in his tent, jumps back out again with his bag. He says, "I know these two fellows, these two guys, and Dinsdale and Bradbury. I mean, I know these guys. They've gone mad. It's just some kind of snow madness, or maybe the reefer. I don't know."
So you think drugs could be involved?
Well, people slip things on voyages, and they save them for the most inopportune times.
Could they be poisoned?
Well, one of them is unconscious right now. Bradbury slipped into some kind of catatonia.
Well, let me ask you quite frankly, have you heard, do you suspect that there's been any sabotage on board your ship?
Many strange things happened on the way here.
Mhm.
Food stores damaged, equipment breakdowns.
To be quite honest with you, and if you'd keep this to yourself, but we've had similar things on our ship, and we think that we might have a similar connection with the Germans.
That's interesting you say that, because on the way here, the rumors being that it was Mr. Starkweather who, well, I shouldn't speak. Let's just say our illustrious leader, Ms. Lexington, and others have an opinion that Mr. Starkweather is responsible for our issues.
Yes, I think that Mr. Starkweather and Miss Lexington have a history with one another that seems to be manifest. But I think that we've got a third party that's doing this to us. We received a number of threats.
Threats?
Yes, and they were German. There was a German connection there that we needed to go home, go back, turn away, and so it looks like we have a common enemy.
Well, certainly hope Mr. Starkweather brings that up in the conversations with Ms. Lexington, because a member of our crew received similar threats. Our team, not our crew.
So, were you a witness to anything that happened
on the ship, or this situation?
Well, this situation here.
The two men were mad, running around saying that they were here. They were here. Something was here. Spiders, believe it or not.
Spiders?
Yes.
That does sound like a drug-induced hallucination, doesn't it?
It does. Hence my concern about that. They seem to think that where camp was being attacked, and the only way to deal with spiders, of course, is to crush them or burn them out, in their opinion. So that's what they were doing to the camp. But here, if you would like to come in, Dr. Hawk, and you, what was your name again? Sorry.
My name is Dr. Lindenbrook, but I'm not that kind of a doctor. I'm a paleontologist.
Well, one of those. Well, we can't all be medical doctors. Please come with me.
I study the bones long after you've failed to treat them correctly.
Yes. I see the connection. Here, come with me. And he escorts you over to the medical tent. As you approach, you see the others coming in direction as well. In the tent, the madmen, the criminals, whatever you want to call them, they've been detained. One is unconscious. It's a flimsy excuse for a tent, by the way. It's more like a sheets and poles. It's not a firm setup. There's a gentleman there sitting on inside the tent in a folding stool, watching over the unconscious Bradbury and the other fellow Dinsdale, who's fully alert and awake. He does not look happy. Has a thick, blood-soaked bandage on his cheek. It just seems like it needs to be changed again. There seems to be a few on the ground that have already been changed. He just looks unhappy. This guy doesn't look like he's angry. He doesn't look mad, like crazy. He just looks unhappy. And he gives an encouraging nod to Dinsdale. And the doctor says, here, please, feel free to speak to the men.
Oh, I don't have any medical training, so I don't even know what to say.
Well, just to talk to them. That's what he was offering you.
Just like the one's unconscious, right?
One is unconscious, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So
Bradbury's the one who's catatonic. So Dinsdale's the one who's he's looking kind of sheepish. Maybe, whatever brought that on has he's kind of snapped out of it and feeling a little guilty, a little sheepish.
Mr. Dinsdale.
Yes.
Do you remember what happened a little while ago, the incident?
He's got a blanket around him. He's got a cup of coffee. They haven't put him in shackles or anything like that.
Is he the cook?
Bradbury's the cook, I believe.
So he's the assistant cook?
No.
So who's the pilot?
Yes, he's Dinsdale. What's his name here?
I think you said pilot earlier.
Yeah, I'm oddly enough, I'm looking at the thing. I can't see it. Yes, pilot.
He's a pilot. Do you recall what happened?
All I know is, and he seems genuine. You don't even have to make a psychology roll. The guy seems genuine.
Right.
He says, I don't really know. I woke up early in the morning, convinced the spiders had invaded the camp. And I hate spiders. And he looks
Do you recall, how about when you went to bed? Before you went to bed, what do you remember? Did you eat something, drink something?
Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that anyone else hadn't drank or eaten that I know of.
Did you have a dream? Do you recall any kind of dream that you might have had?
I thought this was a dream. I hate spiders. I absolutely hate them. I came on this trip partly because there aren't supposed to be spiders in Antarctica. That's one of my thoughts.
So
I had a choice of this or South America.
I'm going to turn to Dr. Hawk. Could it be some sort of like sleepwalking?
I'm not sure here. No, do you know what? I think I'm going to make a medicine check, and I'm going to ask him. Do you mind if we maybe get a blood sample off you? Maybe this could be poisoning. This could, like if he seems genuinely sincere in telling the truth, it's got to be something. So I'm just going to go back to the kind of basics, see if I can get a blood sample from either of them.
You think I was?
Sorry, for both of them. Sorry.
You think I was poisoned?
I'm not saying anything right now because I know we've had a lot happen on the way here. We have problems with our dogs, with everything that's going on, and now that we see with both our camps, I'm not going to rule anything out. So let's try to.
If it'll prove anything, sure.
Yeah. The thing is,
I'm just telling you,
guys. So
I can't imagine what I was thinking. I didn't even think of the reasonableness of the idea. I just grabbed gear and started setting fire to everything. It just, these spiders, they were so big and they were everywhere, on everything. I just had to get rid of them. I can't imagine what I was thinking. He just mutters and he just uncovers his arm and says, go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my trauma kit out. I'm going to try to get a blood sample from both of them, put it in a vial. Do I have anything? I'll probably have something with me that I can try to give them, like a mild sedative or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. You have access to some kind of a mild sedative for sure.
Yeah.
Well, if it's going to help him, he says, "What's this for? Will this help me sleep?"
Yeah, it's going to help you relax, calm your nerves a bit. So
he looks over at the guy in the chair, Priestley, and says, "Are you going to stay here?"
Were the two of you together when this happened?
Bradbury and I?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were both, as far as I know, he was helping me.
No, I mean, do you sleep in the same tent or?
No.
Did he come from one part of the camp while you came from another part of the camp at the same time?
I just know he was beside me. I just know he was with me. I don't really remember. I just know that I woke up, there were spiders everywhere, and he was with me, and we were destroying them as best we could.
Let me ask you a couple more questions. Are you prone to dreams? Have you ever sleepwalked, or anything like that? Back at home, back in the
maybe when I was a kid. I think I remember walking around when I was a kid and ending up outside in the yard with my mother yelling at me.
Do you have any hobbies? Like, do you like to paint, or do you like to play music of some sort?
Really, I don't have a lot of time for hobbies. I'm on the ships so often. I'm traveling everywhere.
Tell me more about these spiders that you saw. Were they size of a quarter, size of a saucer, size of a dinner plate? Tell me a little bit more about the spiders.
He just uses his hands and shows you that they were huge.
Were they? Tell me about the colors or markings or anything of that nature.
I don't really know spiders too well. I just don't like them.
Mhm.
They weren't the fancy ones you see in the books, the National Geographic, that are like all the colors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were just
Black, white,
black,
Black?
gray. Yep,
mm-hmm.
dark colors.
Mm-hmm. And where
Nothing-
did they seem to be coming from, or did they just appear?
But they sort of came out of the snow, like onto the tents, like
Mhm.
from outside. They weren't in; they were coming into the camp.
Mm-hmm. And while this was going on, did you hear anything? Granted, there were probably, gunfire and screaming and flames, but did you hear anything else? Any voices or anything else that was going on at the time?
A lot of yelling once they started setting fire to stuff.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, but no. There's like the chittering sound. These things made like a.
Mhm.
That's all I remember, really.
Now, if I'm making a occult roll, would I recognize anything, or is anything ringing a bell here as far as spiders and what he's describing?
You can make a roll if you want.
Okay.
I'd also like to know, at what point did you realize that what you were doing was wrong? Did somebody grab you? Did somebody wake you up, shake you?
People tackled us and held us down, and eventually I couldn't see any more spiders.
I made my occult roll.
Yep, you don't. Nothing similar to what he's describing is knowledge known to you as a thing, like as an occult-related thing.
Okay.
Hallucinations, yes, but that's just a general hallucinations kind of thing being brought on by entrancement, or but nothing specifically related to spiders.
Okay.
Well, let's see if the doctor can figure out if he's got some sort of a pharmacological problem, that he's been poisoned or something.
Sure. Do you mind if I do a physical of you right now? Just do a small exam, see if I can pull up my equipment and stuff.
Mr. Coppard, can I talk to you in private for a few moments? Let the doctor.
Sure.
do
We'll step
whatever he
out.
is
We'll
to do.
step out while he does his exam.
Sure.
Mr. Coppard, I get the strong impression from some of the things that you've said that you're a spiritual man. Would you say?
That would be a good guess. Yes, sir.
You've read a lot. You have a lot of understanding of philosophy and, need I say, the occult.
Yeah, some of the more esoteric. Yes.
From my own personal studies at the Miskatonic, although I present myself rather strongly as a scientist, and I do believe that's what I am at heart, I also have a great deal of occult knowledge. And I hope that you'd sort of picked up on the fact that he doesn't seem to be a particularly sensitive person.
Right.
If he'd have said, "Oh yes, my hobby is art and painting and poetry and stuff like that," I would have thought, "Uh-oh."
Right. He's not given the flights of fancy. He's kind of what we would call a meat and potatoes kind of guy, right?
My guess is this might just be another instance of sabotage. Somebody slipped something into his food.
Yeah, I think the results of the blood tests are going to be very interesting, and the results of Dr. Hawks's physical exam. I was trying to, I've heard of certain spiders in archaeology and anthropology, and I was just trying to see if I could kind of tie it back to anything. But
Well,
this
he said
may just be straight up hallucinations. Yeah.
he said that he had a pre-existing fear of spiders.
Right.
So this was something that magnified his fear.
Exactly.
I think that it's extremely significant, though, that he sleeps in one place, the cook sleeps in another, and somehow the two of them were affected at the same time.
Right.
That
it
really
would,
points towards something like poison or.
yeah. It also gives, some sort of credence to some sort of subconscious. You just really never know. Is it their subconscious? Is there some sort of connection between the two of them that we don't know about, or maybe that they don't even know about? There's the collective unconscious that Jung talks about. So I think I don't want to get too woo-woo about it right now, but I think that, we'll start with the physical, and if that doesn't give us any answers, we'll move to the metaphysical maybe.
Well, somebody mentioned the reefer, and what we should have here is Sparky, because he seems to be the expert on that subject. I don't think, from what Sparky's told me, that it produces that kind of hallucinations.
No, it doesn't. I can speak from experience. That's not what it does. Trust me.
I see. Yeah. Well, apparently they've been sabotaged too, so
that was a very interesting conversation, yes. And the German connection is something that probably bears more investigating. I still think that we need to be vigilant. If it does, on one hand, it does me a comfort that we're not the only ones suffering sabotage, but it also lets me know that we really need to be vigilant and not drop our guard, to be quite honest.
Yeah, agreed. Well, let's see what the doctors come up with, if anything at all.
Agreed. And if our services aren't really needed here, I think we might need to, granted it's the land of the midnight sun, but I'd like to get some rack time and get caught up on my sleep before we move any further.
Agreed.
Dr. Hawks.
Yep.
Could you make a medical roll?
Medicine. That's a pass, 23 out of 61. So.
Okay. Other than the injuries suffered from, the the capture and the wound, that is obviously something, again, part of that capturing that happened to him, the beating he took. You don't see any signs of drugs. His eyes look generally normal. His pulse, everything, the general specifics, the general medical things you would check for health and well-being seem fine, except his blood pressure is a little bit off. But nothing showing any signs or symptoms of anything untoward. So it doesn't seem like he was drugged, that you can tell. Just physical exam. The blood, you'll have to actually take and examine under a microscope, I guess.
Okay, for sure. Well, thank you for letting me, have a look at you. I'm actually going to go out and talk to Dr. Lindenbrook and tell him actually what I found, and just say, you know what, everything seems normal with him. Until we can check the blood work, but I can't see that he's on anything, or so. I know this is weird, and he seems truly sincere about this, about this fear. So
that goes for both men. You tested both of their bloods?
Yeah.
Which samples
out of both of them.
Oh, you haven't tested yet, but
yeah, I'm sure I've got to bring.
Send them to CSI Antarctica.
That's right.
Yeah.
By drone.
Okay, the color's red. Okay, they're good then.
Yeah. I don't know what exactly the extent of blood testing can be in 1930, but
well, probably. I'm not speaking. I don't know, but probably he's testing to see if there's any chemical component to there that shouldn't be there, like lead or
polonium.
I'm not sure they knew yet that lead was so dangerous.
Okay,
no,
Elmer.
Like they didn't know. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Just Elmer. You're standing by the sleds and stuff, watching stuff, and standing with the other the sled dog people, like our people. Another fellow comes up. His name is. You hear him introduce. He introduces himself to you as well. His name is Tuvinen. The dogs are really howling and freaking out. So he's asked them if maybe they could come over and assist in calming down the camp's dogs as well. He seems his clothes are a little more cared for than the others. He seems a little more professional. He speaks with a Finnish accent. It's fairly easy to figure. It's Scandinavian to you, but he just says, "Look, I was awakened by the explosion. I was expecting another attack, and it didn't seem to happen. So nothing good has happened on this trip. Bad things, just like constantly. Food destroyed, things broken, electronics destroyed. I'm glad the vandals have been caught. They must have been behind everything."
Yeah. Us too. We had similar experience.
Really? Just people in our trip seem to think it was you guys. Or
And vice versa. People in our camp thought it was you guys.
How did
I
they
guess that's
destroy these radios you talk?
Pardon me?
How did they destroy the radios?
In the fire.
See,
They were in the
or in a fire.
Mhm. We're using the radio on the aircraft to contact the boat right now.
Nice.
Did you have the experience with all these problems and everything on the journey to here, or only once you got here?
Oh, all the way here from the New York. It's just food. We're missing 1/5 of our food.
Mm-hmm.
It's we've got lots of fuel, but our electronics, our radios damaged. Things just missing. I heard that there's one fella, and he just screamed and jumped over the edge of the ship on the way here.
We didn't have anything like that.
Yeah, his name is Bix, and you'd have to talk to the Mr. Hopewell, and he was standing with him, and he started screaming, jump over the edge of the ship. Never saw him again. So I don't know. It's just it's a crazy trip.
And yet Miss Lexington pushed on.
And he looks around. Yeah, she's a slave driver. She absolutely yes. She would not go back.
Yeah. I guess when you commit this much to an expedition like this, you kind of have to push on.
I think she wants to be in the newspapers or in a movie or something.
Mm-hmm. I got my picture in the newspaper.
So, tell me how you do this.
Mug shots don't count.
So yeah, he actually asked one of the fellows to come. He says, "Nice to meet you," and he wants some assistance. And one of our Pulaski goes over with him to help with their sled dogs because they need to be corralled.
I didn't really think of it, but I would have given him my name and everything too.
Oh, I assume you probably gave that.
Yeah.
So, but you can see where he's indicating the two fellows. They're working over at the generator. It's right diagonal from where you're standing, where he pointed this Hopewell and the Sachs guy.
Hopewell. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'll head over towards the generator. Kind of look over the shoulder and be like, I don't know if there's anything I can do to help. Is there?
Well, they're trying to put there's it's a mess. Like there's an explosion. There's wires everywhere and bits of bakelite and metal, and they're just deciding whether anything can be fixed. And the guy, this is total. It's hopeless. It's lost.
Wow.
But he keeps. This is Hopewell. Tony Hopewell. He introduces himself. He's got like a handlebar mustache and he's balding. He says it's hopeless. I don't even know why we're trying. But he keeps handing the other guy tools every time the guy asks for things. And the guy's still trying to fix stuff. And Sachs just looks over and goes, that was Sachs. They're just trying to fix. They can't. It's hopeless. It's obviously hopeless. But you can't really tell them anything because they're so intent on fixing things. You guys are Starkweather's bunch?
Yeah, Mr. Tuvinen was just talking to me, and he told us a story of one of your guys apparently jumped ship. Is that true?
Yeah. Hopewell kind of stopped. He puts the toolbox down in front of Sachs. Says, "Find your own tools for a minute." He says, this is a mess. He said that I was on the deck. This guy Bix. We're drinking brandy from a flask. It was cold, warding off the chill, watching icebergs in the moonlight. And I'm telling you, we were talking about nothing. Just nothing. The night sky, the sound of the icebergs creaking against the other icebergs. He looked at me, back at the ocean, out of the icebergs, back at me again. His eyes got wide and big. And we're drinking out of the same flask. And I swear his eyes were going to pop out of his head, and he just started screaming. Not saying anything, just screaming. I grabbed at him, tried to shake him, try to figure out what the heck's wrong with him. He pushed me off, jumped over the side of the ship. Damnedest thing I ever saw. Screamed all the way down, staring at me right in the eyes all the way to the water.
Holy cow.
I couldn't do anything. I mean, he just started screaming and just jumped. That's it.
I'm sure he didn't last long in that cold water.
Never saw him again.
Was it as if he saw something on the ice, you mean?
He looked out to the open ocean.
Yeah.
Looked out, glanced at some icebergs, back out at the ocean, looked straight at me, his eyes got wide, and that was it. He was gone. You see, you notice that looking at him, he's got a big bloody bandage on his arm. Then there's a circular blood stain on it. He notices you see it. He says, "Oh yeah, I got shot. Never been shot before in my life, and I got shot tonight in the middle of the Antarctic."
That's not something you expect on the Antarctic.
No. You expect to freeze to death or get eaten by, I don't know, there's no bears here, whatever. Penguins. You expect to get eaten or freeze to death. You don't expect to get shot by one of your own people. It was amazing. Those Bradbury and Disdale ran out from behind piled supplies, just shouting and screaming, just like the bank on the ship. They said, "Burn him out, burn him out." And Bradbury's a good guy. I always liked him.
They did a lot of damage too in a short amount of time.
Oh yeah. I thought there was real danger at first. I grabbed a torch and put the first tent. I grabbed a torch to try what the heck's going on. Who's attacking us? Guy took it from my hand, set fire to a tent.
Wow.
And we tried to stop him, but he threatened them all with a gun. Threatened us with a gun. I mean, he threatened them and me, and then he shot me right in the arm. He was wild, snow crazy.
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
Did you get your payback?
Guess you can't help if you go crazy.
Did you get your paybacks though?
Pardon me? No, I'm not going to hit him. He's a good guy.
Well, the one guy.
If you know he's
one guy, he's out cold. Did somebody clock him or?
Oh yeah. And Sachs just says it was me. I'm not so soft on them when they go nuts. They just go back to repairing.
Okay.
If you know anybody who's got some mechanical skills, send them over. Sachs says.
Okay.
And then Hopewell says it's hopeless. Don't even bother.
If you need like a part or something, you could probably contact our guys over the radio, and maybe we could see if we have any spares we could send you.
You're going to send us broken parts? They laugh to each other. They seem a bit suspicious. So not suspicious. Suspicious of you. All right. So that's really all you're going to get out of them. They're just too busy, working away at this hopeless venture.
Okay.
All right. What's everybody doing?
So where's Starkweather? Is he still screaming in the tent with Miss Lexington, or has he made an appearance yet to kind of debrief us on what the heck our next step is here after assistance?
You saw him come out about 5 minutes ago. Crossed his arms, unzipped his coat, let some of the heat out, zipped it back up, stood there for another minute or so. If anyone tried to approach him, he just put his hand up like, no, don't even bother. Then he goes back in, and then the yelling starts again. So there's still discussion.
Negotiations are continuing.
Yes. Within an hour of you guys wandering around, you see a guy with a clipboard, and he's been talking to everybody here and there. And he's just shaking his head. He's got a list of, he says, "Oh, my God, this is looking bad." He's tallying up everything. And you can hear him. You're all kind of together again, standing by your sled. And he says, "Generators, gone. Batteries, both main and trail radios, one stove. Trail supplies, not very much fuel, mind you. I mean," he says, we got lots of fuel. I'm going to start a fire. 2 wounded men, tents ruined. About 1/5 of our food is gone. We already lost 1/5 on the ship. So a bunch of instruments, spare parts, the auto gyro. God.
Is that your manifest? We have those too.
Oh.
We've spent a lot of times with those.
Well, I'm very efficient with these. This took me an hour. He says, "We have no. I'm going to have to talk to Ms. Lexington, because we're going to have to cut this short."
I don't talk to him directly. I'll let him do what he's going to do. But I sort of privately say to the other guys, I'm like, I think that Lexington and Starkweather have this thing, and it's been going on for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if we combined our 2 expeditions.
Wonderful.
The stuff that we have missing and the stuff that they have missing, and we put it together, then we'll have more airplanes, they'll have more food.
We'll have twice the distrust of each other.
Well, I mean, once you start working together, then you start working together. You're not going to sabotage yourself, which you would do if you were sabotaging the other at that point.
That's what the saboteurs want you to think.
I think our saboteurs are dead, but are gone. Not dead, but taken care of, except maybe for, I think that they've had something slipped into their food.
We said that we would talk about the physical, and once you rule out the physical, what's left is the metaphysical. So I'm going to lean in that direction on this one. We'll see what happens. Considering the weird things that happened on the last trip, I think we need to be we need to be on our guard, but I also think we need to be a bit open-minded toward the things that are out there that go bump in the night.
We're all together. Have we all shared our stories with one another? Is there anybody who doesn't want to share the story that they learned? Because I'd like to make a comment on the guy that just jumped overboard. Did you tell me that?
Yeah, I would have told you guys.
Okay, that's very strange. And I look over at Gregory, and I'm like, no. When you say metaphysical, I think you might be.
Yeah, I catch your eye. We're on the same page as far as that's concerned. I assume we're all, sharing some coffee and comparing notes from our various.
We haven't had any incidents on our ship of sudden madness.
No, not yet. Fingers crossed.
But we have had poison. The dog's food was poison, so
yes, but that was rat poison. You can get that at any supermarket.
We still don't know what Henning's motivation was.
Yeah,
maybe that was the manifestation of some form of madness.
And we seemed able to sort of put together a connection between him and any of our ideas about whether it was he the one who was trying to stop us. He seemed like just a flunky,
right?
That maybe had been hired by somebody. Same as the guy who tried to burn us out on the dock. Said that he'd been hired. Weird.
Yeah.
Very strange indeed.
I have a question for Mr. Sugden and or the GM. The generator. So having seen their generator and seeing that it's pretty much beyond repair, is that critical to their expedition? Would that be like game ending, or is that just would that just provide creature comforts of heat or electricity?
Well, they're going to need heat just simply to survive, aren't they? But presumably they've got paraffin, kerosene heaters as well. But if they don't have a reserve generator, I mean, they've got no way of they've got no way of using the radio.
Right. Okay.
Even though the radio is knocked out as well, but they have no generator. They have no radio. It's quite serious. If they can't get a replacement, it is certainly a serious issue. I mean, that's their safety net to the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I assume their setup is pretty much how our setup was, where they came by a ship and now they're at their base camp, which is miles away from their ship. Because last I heard, their ship was stuck in the ice like 300 miles away or something. Well,
it's currently stuck in the ice offshore now, but not 300 miles away.
Okay.
If Lexington's expedition is at the point where they can't go on and they'll have to turn back, then Starkweather is going to have himself a really powerful bargaining chip if he wants to get this mixed Lexington on board our ship. Remember, he wants the publicity. That's all he's after.
That seems to be what they're both after.
I bet you they combine the whole thing.
I think so too. I can see that coming a mile away.
But it's far more.
They're going to start comparing notes. They're going to start comparing manifests. Well, because they have plenty of fuel, we are low on fuel. We have generators. They don't have generators. It's going to be a marriage of convenience and a marriage of publicity.
Of course, it's also an ego thing, because Starkweather could just as easily say, screw you, and just we all go back and continue on our mission and let them go home. We don't, at this point in time, we don't absolutely need anything that they've got, but they definitely need stuff that we've got, which could be the fuel for a firefight. So we better be careful.
As a family relative of Mr. Starkweather, knowing what I do of him,
yes,
can I kind of read the tea leaves on this situation and kind of see which way the wind is blowing on this one? Or do you think I can approach him separately and kind of,
you have a bit more
act as a conciliary to him?
You have a bit more rapport with him than others may have. As far as how you read him, generally, he has history with her. There's lots of rumors that have always flown around. Nobody knows exactly what the issue is. Well, people do know, but you'd have to look into it further. He is frustrated, and when he's frustrated. And you can tell his concern was valid when he went to rushed everyone to save her. You haven't talked to him yet since he's come out, or he hasn't come out yet. But he's genuinely concerned, but also very frustrated with her.
So it's almost like he's between a rock and a hard place. He wants we have his affection for this woman on one hand, and he wants her to be taken care of, and he wants her to be safe. But then he's also got the success of his own expedition on the other hand. So he's kind of balanced. It seems like he's balancing these two, and we're going to kind of see which way he's leaning. And I think Dr. Lindenbrook is kind of on the right track here, that they're going to start coming, pretty soon our interests are going to be even more intertwined.
You say a rock and a hard place, but it's really more like he at this point has a complete advantage over her. He has what she needs, and
she has what he wants.
She's either going to go home or she's going to have to join she's going to have to do what he wants, which he'll love, she'll hate. But
I don't see her backing down, though. I don't think his hand is as strong as you think it is when it
I
comes
think all he has to do is say
to,
and go
to
home.
affairs of the heart.
Oh well, that's always the thing. But there's a lot of times in that kind of a relationship where one partner takes complete advantage over the other. He can force her. I think he can force her, and he probably will force her.
Well, we shall see.
Or she can go home.
Well, your time has come to find out. You hear more. The door opens. You don't see people. You hear Viper, buffoon, Harridan, incompetent. I can't believe you brought a woman on the trip just because I'm a woman on a trip of my own. Hold your tongue, woman, or so help me, I'll take you over my knee. He comes out, shuts the door behind him, storms towards you guys, and says, all you hear is he says, emotional woman, no damn place in the Antarctic for her. And he walks across the camp to rejoin you guys and says, all right, 15 minutes, let's go.
All right.
Sounds good. Let's get out of here. Giddy up.
Wait, you're not leaving our woman with him.
She's not with you at present.
Okay.
No. So the uneventful trip back to the camp. You just
Really? So we just went.
That was a waste of bloody time, wasn't it?
I was wrong.
He just heads back. At the camp, things are normal as anything compared to where you just were. Dogs are led away to be fed and rested. Starkweather vanishes into his tent. Mr. Moore comes out, though, and says, yeah, could you guys tell me what happened? I'm not going to go there right now. So please brief me. What happened?
Do you want us to brief you, or do you want us to just say that we briefed you? We tell them everything that happens.
Yeah, we're not going to hold anything back on this account, right?
Well, that's what I was leading to. How much do you tell me?
Right.
Everything? Okay. And
Well,
you tell them
I'm not holding anything back, and I think we also need to kind of give him a heads up to Starkweather's mental condition and the epithets that were being thrown between himself and Miss Lexington. This is the Antarctic, and we're on an expedition, and I think transparency is really the key here. And also there's anything that we have is hearsay. I mean, I think he's going to be very interested to hear about the sabotage. Yeah, exactly. So I think that as these two groups, and probably any other group, it's going to be interesting to see if even more groups that are out there, if they also have the sabotage problem, and do we start working together as one big team as opposed to 3 or 4 little teams?
And
so
the madness.
They think we did these things to them?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were very suspicious. Even when we showed up to offer assistance, they were still some of them were very hesitant to share information or even tell us what happened.
Have you told Starkweather any of this?
We couldn't, he just basically barked out of the tent, and so
8 miles back quietly. I'm envisioning this 8 miles in silence. Yes.
Yeah.
Now we're highly suspecting the German team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're very professional, but yes, they are German. Well, he makes lots of notes.
Unless they brought spiders with them, we'll see.
Yeah, the madness is a little disturbing.
There are snow spiders in the Himalayas.
I still think if they're on edge because they're being sabotaged, they may not even trust each other. They may think one of their own is the saboteur. Their stress levels are heightened. They've gone without sleep. They've been, she's not, from what I understand, she's not a very efficient team leader. And, this could just be a case of, let's just call it snow crazy. And unfortunately, it's, it ended up damaging their camp.
All right. Okay. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention to you guys, Sykes and Dr. Green actually stayed behind to help rebuild the camp. And they nod at you in a knowing way they're going to try to talk some sense into Ms. Lexington.
Interesting.
But it was not Mr. Starkweather's suggestion they both stay. He thought only one would stay, but Dr. Green suggested it. And Dr. Hawk is now the lead doctor for the site at present. So the next day, Mr. Moore says, look, get some rest, you guys. You've earned it. If there's anything else, just tell me in the morning or after you get some sleep. Go, please. I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about tomorrow when Mr. Starkweather comes out of his tent.
Good night, Mr. Moore.
Good night. Good morning, whatever.
Yeah.
So I assume you guys doing anything else, or are you going to go and
Going to bed.
I imagine we're exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 hours, heavy sledding, 16 miles. That's going to knock you out for a good 8 hours.
Yeah.
Or more. So the next day, when you wake up, Professor Moore spends most of his time on the radio. Starkweather's storming around the camp. Raging is the best word for it. Sykes and Green return. They come with Priestley, who is the fellow that was in the tent that had the damaged face, who was watching over the Bradbury and the other fellow, Dinsdale. And they pitch a pair of tents to one side of the camp. Priestley seemed friendly when you were in there, didn't say very much. He's chatting to the men of the expedition, your own people, and Lexington spends her time closeted with Starkweather and Moore. So
she came with them.
She came with them back.
Mm-hmm.
And after you go about your business, I mean, Mr. Moore or Professor Moore comes out and tells you guys just continue preparations, everyone. Continue preparations. To you, that's a lot of it's already prepared, so it's a lot of doing nothing. So 48 hours later, thanks to Professor Moore's judicious diplomacy, the two teams have come to an uneasy alliance. Lexington, Starkweather, Moore expedition are going to join forces. Mm-hmm. Her plane will replace the damaged Shackleton, the one that was lost at sea, obviously. Food and radio supplies and power facilities will be supplemented by Lexington's damaged stores. It will supplement Lexington's damaged stores and equipment. And she agrees to provide fuel and to help fly your group's people to the lake camp and beyond. And once the camps at the lake camp and the high plateau have been made, she's been offered the chance to use them for bases for her photographic and mapping expeditions that she wishes to do. So the bargain struck to everyone's advantage, and neither leader seems happy with it.
If Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
I knew I should have put some bets on that.
You hear from her people that she thinks he's a chauvinist and a pig, but an incompetent, whose only talent is hiring good staff and talking up a good story.
She would know.
She would know. Mutterings go around between people here and there, and you do actually get he gets set into a rage when he hears people mumbling about the two of them, rumors and such. So it does actually happen a few times that he's choose someone out for saying something about the two of them. But you see them storming around, like they'll meet, they'll leave, they'll come throughout the whole conversation. They'll take off as if they're both going to split up together, like in separate directions, and they get back together. So she doesn't want to work with him, but the delay of returning north and acquiring new equipment will cost her at least a month and the whole season. So she's totally dissatisfied to be in his debt, but she knows that it's a necessity. So the bargain struck. It is November 22nd. And the next day is the 23rd. So Thanksgiving Day, the Americans at the camp have an impromptu feast of sorts. Everyone's invited, including the Lexington party. The two visitors return to their own camp with Sykes and a sled filled with electrical gear later that evening. And the next 3 days are busy days. So everybody has jobs to do, merging the camps, essentially. So they're coming to you. So for 3 days, things are being ferried back and forth. There's a trail established between the two camps, so it becomes like a highway essentially. And at the last minute, sorry, not at the last minute. So things are together, people are together, you're all in one camp, and the scramble's on. There's a good forecast for 48 hours, And Mr. Starkweather announces at the very last minute that he will not be joining Professor Moore and you guys, or whoever goes to the first flight in search of Lakes Camp. He's actually going to go with DeWitt and Houston and fly to the top of Beardmore Glacier on the Enderbury, along with Fiskerson and Gunnar Sorensen and a team of dogs. And he says, I have no interest in waiting about what Professor Moore does detective work. That is his thing. I'm going to go to the hills and take photographs with the dogs. You can reach me by radio when you're ready to push on. I'm sure you'll all make your names in science, digging in the ground, but the newspapers want stronger stuff for the front page. Man against the elements, sweeping uncharted vistas, the bang of the huskies, the ring of sled runners in the ice. That's what catches their fancy. But I'll be along, never fear. In a few days, I'll catch up with you. We'll all climb the mountains together, eh? What do you say? So
Have fun.
Makes no odds to me. I'm here for the mountains.
Have fun storming the castle.
So his flight leaves at 8 a.m. on the 27th. 4 hours later, it returns without incident, having dropped the 3 men and their gear safely atop the polar plateau. And at 1 o'clock that afternoon, the 2 Starkweather Moore Boeings are fully loaded, ready to fly. The first flight to the mountains consists of Professor Moore, you guys, and Michael O'Doul with the first pieces of the Popodi drills. O'Doul and the drills ride in the Enderbury. Moore's taking the Weddell's co-pilot seat. And most of you guys will be in the same plane with Moore, I would assume, except for Nigel, you're going to be flying the other aircraft.
Okay.
And the later flights will bring the rest of the equipment and the remainder of the scientific team. 1:15 p.m. on November 27th, after a final radio consultation with Acacia Lexington, your 2 aircraft take off, and a mid-air rendezvous occurs with the Lexington's aircraft, the Bell, and you head off towards the Miskatonic Mountains and looking for Lakes Camp. So the flight is quite long, in that you in the distant haze, you eventually do see, it's a perfect day for it. You eventually do see the range of mountains in the distance. And it's such a, they're so large that you actually think you're going to get to them close sooner than you do. They seem like less than an hour away from after you take off, dark smudges in the horizon, but you're told again, just like Lake said, they're like the Himalayas. But they take forever to get to. It just takes hours and hours to approach the mountains. And eventually, by the evening, what would be evening, late afternoon, huge shadows. You get close enough to the mountain to see the huge shadows from the mountains pushing out into the ice, distorting and hiding neighborhood peaks and flowing like gray fingers of shadow out onto the ice. And it just shows you how enormous the mountains are. The closer you get to the mountain wall, the more details appear. Anybody have binoculars with them?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, I'll assume you pass them around a bit. You can see strange, regular outcroppings on the sides of some of the nearer peaks. Cylinders, deep gouges, cuboid extrubances that they just look like not natural. Does anybody have geology, anything like that?
Actually, I think I do.
Natural world.
I have
Geology.
I have archaeology.
Archaeology would work, as well as geology.
63, no.
09
37 archaeology.
on geology.
Okay. What's the archaeology out of?
Archaeology, 37 out of 65.
Okay. In both cases, from a geological and an archaeological perspective, you compare notes. It doesn't look natural. I mean, just from looking through textbooks on geology, you don't see that kind of stuff in mountain ranges.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even with like wind-blown peaks that do form in certain ways, or even natural magma cooling and over time.
Right. I'm thinking.
But wasn't this mentioned in Lake's report that we got? I mean,
yes.
we already knew that these were not natural.
Yeah, this just proves you think that we're in the right area.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, based on geology, if instead of now what we're used to is granite forming huge mountains and basalt forming, maybe this is some sort of other crystalline structure that we're just not used to seeing, and that's why they've taken on these strange forms. I don't know what it would be.
And as we know, ice, maybe temperature, there may be ice, there may be pressure, there may be tectonic plates.
Those protuberances could be like hanging glaciers or something like that.
Yeah, you're not close enough to really. I mean, you want to see the rocks. You want to touch the rocks to know.
Yeah.
Even Captain Sugden, who's climbed many places in the world, you haven't seen this kind of outcropping in the past. Now, granted, you've never been to Antarctica, so it might be totally weird. And you do actually, as you continue to approach, you're flying around looking for Lakes Camp, looking for something, because things don't change in the desert sometimes, and things don't change necessarily in the Antarctic because there's not a lot of continuous snowfall here. It's a turbulent landscape of rock and snow and hillocks and ridges and huge fields and some drifts of snow here and there. And you're just searching. You seem to know you're in the right area, and the Miskatonics dominate the whole landscape. Brooding wall of heavy, dark escarpments, they say. It's very difficult to pay attention, but the land below is very wide, and compasses are just kind of messed up here too. So you have to navigate by eye, and the pilots, Nigel, you and the other pilot, are definitely having a bit of difficulty, but you're doing your best. Turbulent air. Yeah. Sorry?
Is there any place that looks like a landing strip where the previous camp was? There was probably a landing strip there.
Well, that's one of the things that you suggest you should look for. So everyone's sort of, instead of looking for bits and pieces of non-natural things, now you're looking for a landing strip as well. But turbulence hits you, so everyone has to make a luck roll, please.
Oh no! I got a 98.
I got 20.
I've got an 85.
Apparently, I'm going to stand up and walk around at this point.
So you don't barf on anyone.
Hold on, Buck. Well, this is safe, bam. You take a point of damage from just being jostled and leaning against somebody uncontrollably or unshielded.
They should really hire a bunch of ladies to fly on these planes and explain to us about seatbelts before we.
When they are
and serve us drinks.
Yeah.
And could everyone make a Constitution roll with all this turbulence as well?
Oh, I did okay on that one.
I made mine as well.
34. Yes, I'm okay.
Any failures? No.
I made it
by 10.
I made it by 1 point.
Oh, you feel queasy, but you're a pilot, so you held it down. Dr. Hawks, did you say you failed?
Yeah, I failed by 10.
Who's sitting beside Dr. Hawks?
Oh shit, I probably am.
I
did get an idea.
Doctors always stick together.
Could you do a luck roll then?
Oh, that's a 79. What is my luck? No.
He might be wearing his lunch.
Loses his lunch, and you are caught in the spray.
I should probably do another Constitution roll then.
Everybody do a Constitution roll.
Right. Everybody, can we roll down the windows in this thing?
I got an 11, so
I'm sure it's going to get really ripe really soon.
Despite the sputum, I didn't barf.
Well,
sorry about that. Sorry about that.
And those who are not other than you two, could everyone else make a spot hidden roll, please? The people with binoculars, rather.
Oh, I can't use binoculars. I'm flying a plane.
No, you can't. Well, you can make a spot hidden, though. You can make a spot hidden.
6, yes.
I didn't make mine.
Ooh, I made it critical.
Excellent. Then it is you, Nigel. Nigel says, over there, 3 miles, 2 o'clock. Lexington's bell waggles the wind because they hear him over the radio. and it's lucky that he saw it. And the Lexington aircraft waggles off, comes back, straightens out, and straightens to land. You found the camp. It's almost impossible to see against the pattern, but you did manage to see the landing strip, as you predicted. It looks like thousands of others, but just that landing strip is what you saw. And you can see mounds that are, as you get closer, you can see, well, yes, there's mounds. Regular in size, laying out in rows and angles. Artificial origins, obviously. These aren't random piles of rocks. And could you do another spot hidden? To people with binoculars and Nigel as well?
I failed that one again.
Oh, no, 92. No.
No. Nigel?
I made it barely.
Snow, I see.
Okay. You see off a quarter-mile west of the camp, at the base of a stony ridge, a man-made object. It is a peak. Like, it looks like a pile of stones. A dark mound that is.
How high?
10, 15 feet. It's not. Well, not 10 or 15, like no more than 10, say.
Okay, so it's not a human grave.
It looks, as you pointed out, someone else looked with binoculars. Now that they see it, it's a pile of rocks in a peak, like a cairn of rocks.
A cairn, right?
Yes. So make your pilot roll, Nigel, or aircraft flight roll, whatever you wish to call it.
Oh yeah, easy.
Excellent. All right, it's very difficult to land because of the gusting winds around the base of the mountains, but you are able to land the ship. The other ship lands there as well. It's only when you're a few feet above the ground the buffeting stops. The roar of the engines die away, replaced by silence and singing wind. It's a desolate, lonely sound. For a moment, no one moves. Then Professor Moore unbuckles himself and crouches down by the investigators, turns around, crouches down the aircraft facing you, looking each of you in the eyes. And he says, you know why we're here, of course. We're here to find out what happened 3 years ago, what really happened. Something terrible took place outside, just a few yards from this spot. I don't know what it was, but it cost me a number of good friends. And the ones who know what it was, the ones who came here, are afraid to tell. I know those men as I knew the men who died, Lake Atwood Carroll. They were brave fellows, not afraid of the unknown. William Dyer, Frank Pabodi were brave men too, unafraid of death, unafraid of the truth. Those who came home, however, each and every one are lying about something you're unwilling to tell the world. I ask your help in this. You're not afraid to look under rocks or to make sense of what you find. I want to know what is here, where everything is before calling Mr. Starkweather. Don't move anything yet, but find it all. Clear off as much snow as you can without disturbing things. We have the better part of a day before the drills and ice melters arrive. Apart from setting up your tents, the site is yours until then. I want to know what killed my friends. He stares for a moment out the window at the Bell and the other crew, and he turns back and heads to the door.
I would suggest before we get to exploring that we turn the planes around and be ready for takeoff if something should happen.
Yeah, you're in charge of that. That's perfectly fine. And
give the planes. Give the planes a once over. Make sure everything's okay, no damage. We'll let Dr. Hawks clean up the mess.
Yes, and assist.
The mess is all over me.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go roll in the snow.
Yeah. All right, so that's where we'll call it for the night then.
Excellent.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
All right, well, our players included Jerry Bryant, Greg Malcolm, Bill Mize, Mick Swan, Jeff Wilkins, and myself with Sean Little as Keeper of the Secrets. Our musical intro, Sleight of Hand, was composed by James Brett and is used with his permission. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help us continue our show, you can visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 will help us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe our channel. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We love hearing from you. You'll find links to everything I mentioned in the description below. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming group, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness. for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.